Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Finance Friday with my girl Marianne from LERISQUE Africa.
Yes.
This legacy versus LERISQUE partnership has really
I love it. Oh my gosh.
third week and counting.
I think it's the fourth. Actually, it is the fourth.
Oh my goodness,
Yes.
4 weeks and counting. And it's been really great, guys. Now today I want us to talk about retirement planning and protection. Today I actually did a previous video on retirement planning.
Yes.
But we really didn't get into like the details. We kind of like got into calculating like how much someone needs to retire. Now the reason you're here today is because I got questions about like the different types of pension funds, how they work, where to find them, tax advantages. So it's like I think I would need like an expert who's already in like the protection and insurance field to help us figure out, because most of these pension products are provided for by insurance companies, right? So today we are actually going to be taking a deep dive in understanding like the different types of pension funds, how you can get one if you're self-employed, okay, and how you can supplement what your employer gives you in case you did the math or you've done the math and you realize that it's not enough, right? So that's exactly what we are going to be talking about today, and I'm not gonna waste any more of your time. We are going to dive right straight into it. So Marianne, do you want to say hi to people who don't know you?
Hey guys, I've been here so many times, but my name is Marianne Tyro, and I'm the founder of LERISQUE Africa, and we're really passionate about protecting family wealth, protecting and preserving family wealth. And retirement is part of that, because actually many people outlive their income, and if you do not have a retirement plan, then it means that you are exposed upon retirement. So this is also part of protection, and I'm really looking forward to having this
conversation. It needs every time I talk about retirement, first of all, I need to call out these people.
Yes.
Every time I talk about retirement and I do videos on retirement, you guys are not interested. You're languishing this story as if it is going anywhere. I said I'm gonna keep talking about it until we get it right. And I think one of the reasons is because when you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, for some reason, even sometimes 50s, someone is just like, ntajipanga. For some reason, you feel like I'm still okay, I'm still sorted. Now, when I did the last video, which I'm gonna link down in the description box below, we talked about like how to calculate how much money you need for retirement.
That's important.
And like when I was doing research for that video, I read a statistic that to date almost keeps me up at night. According to this statistics, and I'm gonna link like some links down below, guys, so that you can read and see for yourself that I'm not just siwapi stories at Jamba, it's legit. Kenyans, Marianne, are one of the poorest retirees in the world. I don't mean Africa.
No.
In the
How
world.
is that even possible?
We are.
Kenyans are hardworking.
Hold on to that thought.
Yes, okay.
Hold on to that thought. Imagine, and that's why it keeps me up at night. We are one of the most hardworking people I know.
Right. You're saying it's one of the poorest. We're one of the poorest retirees.
We are one of the poorest retirees in the world. I'll take you there.
Okay.
Number two, something else that was really staggering is that almost around 90% of Kenyans are not formally employed. So does that even start making sense? Yeah.
Yes.
So you see, almost 90% of Kenyans, they don't have a formal pension plan, because you get a formal pension plan through employment.
Yeah.
So
like
like
most people think of it as an employment
benefits, right? So like when I was reading the math, like when I was reading the numbers and like kind of like trying to understand the statistics, it made sense why then we are one of the poorest retirees, because you see our mindset has always been nimeandikwa. So I mean, I'm okay. I have a pension fund. But also on the flip side of this, the majority of Kenyans who are in the informal sector, they're self-employed, they're doing their own businesses, mama mboga, etc. These people, one, think that pension is an employee benefit. But then number 2, even, and this is even funnier, we think that because niko na biashara mimi sitawai retire.
Itafanya kazi mpaka.
Yeah. So I want you, just in your own definition, what does retirement mean to me? Because in the last video, I told them that for me, retirement is not an age.
Yes.
It's a number, which is what I was trying to take them through, like how to calculate how much money you would need, right?
Yes.
When you hear retirement, in your mind, does it register as an age, as a number? Like, how do you think about retirement?
So when I think about retirement, I just want to know that even when I stop working, there's a certain amount of income that comes in, and I do not have to like actually actively work. That there's an amount of money that comes in whether I work or not. That's the new definition that I'm seeing. Because before, retirement used to be a number.
Right, 65.
65. But the other thing I want people to remember is even when it comes to retirement planning, people could just choose to retire at different ages depending on what is your definition of retirement. Because nowadays with people working extremely hard and planning their funds accordingly, they can even retire at 45, at 50.
I know.
But the one thing I want people to remember, there's that car age, 65, 70 plus. That time you cannot even risk having in like very high risk investment. Because at that time was probably you're extremely old, you're tired, you just want to take a bit of a step back. So yes, there is now that part which you could retire early. But the one thing I want you guys to think, because right now the chances of living long is very, very high. So you want to think, okay, if I live long, let's say past the age of 65, 70, how am I going to survive without bothering somebody else? Because either way, if you don't make a plan
about that gospel of bothering someone else, those are your children.
Exactly.
We are their retirement plans.
Yes, exactly. You know, by the way, Apana, we need to change that, because past the age of 65, 70, if you do not have a plan, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. And you know, some investments are not liquid. So this is how you find many people upon retirement are asset rich, but cash poor. And upon retirement, you need to be as liquid as possible. Because at that time,
I pause there?
Yes.
Guys, did you hear that? You can be asset rich, but cash poor. So these are our parents or our retirees who have tracts and tracts of land, mashamba. Lakini, no, it's true.
It's true.
But if you ever got like a medical emergency, you can't cater to it. If you need to even pay, like you're even trying to find a way to liquidate these things, you barely can even like make ends meet, yet you have so many pieces of land.
Because now when you look at your net worth sheet, you're a multi-millionaire.
But you're not liquid.
I always tell people, even if I have a piece of land, prime area Karen, I cannot go to the shop and buy milk with that.
With the shamba.
You want cash. So you have also to plan your liquidity accordingly, especially upon retirement, because the expenses there could be high, especially when it comes to medical. And then you need to pay other expenses like now electricity, water, and other things. So at that point, even if maybe you're working at past 65, don't let it be because you earn that money. Just do it because you want to. Most probably just having fun with it. So when you have a proper retirement plan or a proper pension plan, at least you know there's a minimum that comes in. Whether you make money or not from your other things, you're good to go. It just gives you that peace of mind. Because if you don't plan, this will fall on somebody else.
Exactly. And before we even get into like the types of insurances, I think it's really important. Even from my previous video, I'll tell you 2 comments that I got that I want us to talk about. Because guys, I do read your comments. And I think one of the things I've been enjoying about our series is that we've been having realistic conversations about real life questions and real life things. Someone told me, a very young, enthusiastic gentleman, was like, Susan, why should I have a retirement fund and a pension fund when I can get onto TikTok and within 1 year, apparently people are making, I'm not very active on TikTok. I try it has never made me money.
Yes.
But from the comments, the guy was like people are actually creators on TikTok right now, and in a year you're making even up to 40 million.
Yes.
So if those are some of the opportunities that are available for us as young content creators, and I can just make that money overnight, why should I focus on like, the long-term boring planning? Why should I do that when there's immediate money? Then the second comment was, I'm in business. I've always been in business. This retirement thing, it's for you employed people because you guys will stop working.
Yeah.
But me, I can continue working. So when I was thinking about that, and I want to pick your brain on it, it reminded me, like I'm looking at myself right now at the age of 29, and you and I call each other a lot.
Yeah.
So the frustration. Like right now, I have the bandwidth to work 15-hour work days.
Yes.
Like we've been working all day today, right? And you'll probably go home and get on your laptop and work some more.
Yes.
And then you'll go put your babies to sleep and come back on the couch and work some more. And that's what it takes to run our businesses, right? Can you do that? Can you keep up in that at 50, at 65, etc.? Like I'm very curious.
Or even do you even want to? Because you also have to remember that, first of all, for the TikTok gentleman, trends also change. And also, I always believe at the time when you're making a lot of money, that's the time also to save up. Because remember, Susan, where we're at our wealth accumulation stage. And the Susan and Marianne now are going to take care of the Susan and Marianne later.
In the future.
So if we do not make a plan now, because just say right now things are going amazing, we cannot predict the next 10 years, we cannot predict the next 20.
And how TikTok will be TikTok,
or we don't know, there'll be new platforms, things can just change.
Yeah.
But the one thing is, if you've been putting money aside, that is not going to change.
Sure.
Because either way, you have a buffer, no matter what happens. So this thing of, money could come in today, we're not sure if it will come in tomorrow. And this so with the same thing with people who are in business.
Yeah.
People, as you said, have the perception or they think that they're going to work forever. But can you imagine running around with customers or tenants past the age of 65?
No, I can't. No.
Exactly. Other things should be... doesn't mean that you don't do anything at all, but you need to ensure that there's a certain amount that is coming in either way without you having to actively work.
Actually,
especially after that age of 65.
Right.
When you decide to retire early at 45 and you have like an income maybe based on your investments, that one is a bit different because at that time you're still active. As in, but now later on 65, 70, you're up and I know you're not going to be there now trying to run around and maybe go and do teaching. That time maybe you're doing things because you just want.
You just want to.
Yeah,
and
because you have.
I think also another thing that has really impacted my journey has been to understand that, like what I said earlier, that retirement is not an age, it is a number.
Yes.
And that also, it doesn't mean I stop working, but like it means that I get to a financial state where working for me is optional.
Exactly. And
right?
That. Yes.
Where working for me, if I want to,
I will. Yeah.
But like if for one reason or the other, whether it's because I'm traveling or whether it's because of I want to focus more on family or a passion project, I can take a step back and I know my bare minimums will be catered to. Now, before we get into the different types of like retirement plans, there's so many people who have NSSF. Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing because you know how many people who've told me I have an SSF, I don't need to plan my own retirement.
Yeah.
Because
how good is it or not?
So you have to remember it's also now a government scheme. It's a National Security Fund. Yeah. So that means that yes, you're putting this money for old age. But the other day I was talking to two of my other clients, like they're past the age of 60 and they decided to retire. So they've been working for over 25 years. Do you know how much they receive, Susan, to take care of their lives?
Don't.
Like about 250 to 300,000. So tell me.
Hiyo ni miaka yako yote ya kazi.
So you see now, let's even just give and take. Your life expectation, maybe it's 85, 90. Yeah. So you retire at 60. Somehow 300,000 should take you for 30 years. So you're going to die even earlier because you're miserable. Because honestly, because of lack of money, you will not enjoy. Because I believe like in every stage in your life, depending on what is most important to you, you want to live also a life of relaxation at that time. Because right now, you're enjoying a certain lifestyle.
Yeah.
And one thing I always say, retirement is an equalizer. Whether you're earning 1 million shillings now or you're earning 50,000, if you did not plan for retirement, all of you are the same. Because at retirement, one thing you have to remember, nobody will give you a loan.
There's actually a loan for everything under the sun other than retirement.
Yeah, you're not having an income.
Yeah.
Someone be giving you a loan at retirement.
It really is an equalizer for sure, because like sometimes I even see, of course we're not naming names, but like I've had stories of people who were like very much known at the prime of their careers, and by the time they're getting to that point, guys are like, "Kai, kwani what happened to Susie? Kwani what happened to Marian?" Because it's like at that particular age, it's like your years and years of working. Yeah, they never, and that's why one of the reasons I actually think black tax is a thing, especially in Kenya, and I know also in Africa, because our parents didn't know any better, some of them. And imagine now if your parent just was a civil servant or like was working and had NSSF all along. Imagine 300,000 and they're supposed to live 30 years post-retirement. In today's economy, assuming that person lives the most frugal lifestyle, that's taking them like a year. I'm saying like a very, very frugal.
Yeah, that has to be extremely
frugal, you know, but that's exactly how much. So obviously you get to that point where like they don't have anything, but in their minds they thought they had something, you know. So today, guys, what we're just trying to emphasize, and I know I've done this before on this channel, but as I told you, because I care, I will not tire, to remind you that NSSF is not enough. If that's the only retirement plan that you have, we need to go a step further. And in our series, we've been talking about the different layers of protection, financial protection that you can put on yourself and on your finances. So we've removed that out of the way. We are not saying it is bad. You have it, pay for it, but no, you need to go an extra mile, right? Now, I want us to talk about the different tools that we have for retirement planning. And I want you to take us through the different types of retirement personal pension funds that we can set up, and especially for unemployed people, because employed guys do have their employers who have a plan. Now, what if I'm employed, but I realize that what my employer is doing for me is not enough? How do I supplement? And then number two, what if you're like Susan and you're your own employer, or you're just an informal worker? What are the options that we have available for us? So let's talk about that.
So there's different types of pension schemes. Let's start with what we just spoke about, the state scheme or the public scheme, which is the NSSF. Yeah, we all know. Then there's the employer scheme, which is organized by your employer as a benefit. And then there is the individual scheme, especially for people who do not have employment benefits. So it's very important still to take care of your own retirement needs there. It's also important, if you know that the employer scheme is not going to be enough, it's good to now always supplement, because you have to take charge of your own retirement. Your employer, that's not their responsibility. It's your responsibility to ensure that you have maintained your lifestyle even upon retirement, and you do not, disturb your people, your kids, when you have retired. Black tax is very real, especially for people who have retired. So it's very, very important to make sure that you've planned accordingly.
That's true.
Yes. True. And then now when we get now deeper, there's now different types of
the individual pension. Like now the one I'm applying for my own self.
So you see, even when it comes, because there's the question you asked earlier, what is the difference between maybe pension fund and provident fund? So you see, when it comes to a pension fund, you are contributing to this fund right now, but then upon retirement, you're going to get it as an income.
So you're going to be receiving monthly payments. So that's what a typical personal pension fund
is meant to do. Or you could choose to pick a provident fund. So a provident fund is a bit more flexible, so you can get it as a lump sum. You see, with this other one, you are getting an income. And then with this other one, you're receiving a lump sum. So the dangers of getting a provident fund, where, when you retire, everybody becomes an investment manager. And that's what because I have seen
umepata pesa ya pesa nepone kuonyesha kile tutapata.
It's very dangerous, especially when you've received a huge chunk of money that you've never managed before. And then now you get so excited and you think that all of a sudden I can invest this money and I'll be able to, get huge returns on it. Because I know someone, in a parent who got the provident fund, and then instead of getting an advisor, his children came and told him, that they should buy matatus.
Oh dear God, not matatus. Not
So this guy has worked for 30 years. He's received a good lump sum.
yeah.
Then he went and bought matatus. I think there were 3 matatus. So that you won't believe me when I tell you, in 2 months, all of them were in the garage. This guy was
because you've never done such a business before, honestly. Yeah.
But you know, the thing is that now when you retire with a lump sum, and you know, because most people, maybe not everybody is good at investing, and not everybody, that's their strong point.
Yeah.
So rather now, maybe even put it into now when we now go into annuity or income drawdown, how is it that you receive your income?
Yeah. Before you even mention the annuity and income drawdown, guys, if you're taking notes, we've said if you're choosing a personal pension fund for yourself, you can either take a pension,
you can receive
a pension fund,
you can receive it as a pension, or you can
or a provident. And the pension is the one that pays you monthly, while the provident gives you a lump sum. Now, I have a question about these monthly payments. Do they have like a limit, like will they pay me until my money ends, or do they actually calculate in such a way that they'll pay me in perpetuity every month until the day I die? How
so it depends. It depends. So let's say now upon retirement, how it is you've received it. So you see now you've retired. Let's say there's that you've reached that point where you're like, okay, how is it I'm going to receive this?
Yeah.
So at that point, what happens is either what we call an income drawdown is purchased, or an annuity.
Okay.
So when it comes to an annuity is actually an insurance product. You put this lump sum towards an annuity, and you receive monthly income either for a certain period of time or for the rest of your life. Most people pick for the rest of their lives. Yeah. So we see now this one is usually predictable, and it does not matter whether the markets fluctuate or not. If
it's a fixed amount.
Yeah, it's a fixed amount.
That's the income drawdown.
No, that's annuity.
That's the annuity.
Yes.
Okay.
So you put money in an annuity. They say that you're going to receive this amount of money every month for life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
So obviously, the bigger the annuity, the better it is. And annuity is dependent also on your age.
Definitely.
Because, so there's that. Now, we're speaking about annuity, there's what we call income drawdown. So that one is usually a bit flexible because now the thing is that it's a flexible retirement option in that now you are the one who are in control of how it is that you receive. So you can be like, okay, now I want to receive, based on the lump sum I have, I want to be receiving 100,000 a month.
Oh, so you choose the amount.
Yes. Okay. And then maybe something in life changes and you're like, okay, now I think I need 150,000. So
you can take it.
Yeah, so you can, it's a bit more flexible compared to an annuity.
And so an annuity is a fixed amount that you've agreed to that you'll be getting every month.
Exactly.
For the income drawdown, you can pay the,
because things do come up. Let's say, for example, you got your children a bit later in life. So
they're still in school.
So you're like, okay, now they're in high school. I need a bit higher income.
Okay.
You see, so that now there's a bit of flexibility.
Yeah.
And then now when it comes to an annuity, the person who takes up the risk of the market is the insurance company because they have promised you a certain amount every single month. So whether the markets are doing well or not, they have to give you that amount. Yeah.
Okay.
You see. Okay. So with an income drawdown, you as the individual take upon the risk. Because it's your
Does that mean if the markets are down, like we are talking bad 4% down, it means that month I receive a less amount, or like the value of my portfolio goes down. But like if the interest rates and the markets are doing well, then the value of my portfolio goes up.
Exactly.
Maybe we can pause there, guys, which means that if I am a risk-averse person, or at that point of retirement, I'm risk averse, I should definitely go for the annuities. But like if you're 60 and you're still trying to take risk for one reason or the other, then you can go for the income drawdown option. There's something I've noted down. I don't know if you guys have noticed. Before retirement, we have 2 options.
Yes.
We have pension and provident. After retirement, we also have 2 options, the annuity and the drawdown.
Yes, and then the other thing we forgot to talk about is also before retirement, what fund do you want to invest in?
Yeah.
This is where now most people also get confused because there's what we call a guaranteed fund and a segregated fund.
Okay, what's the difference?
So with a guaranteed fund, you put this money with the fund manager and they promise you, say, 11% or 12% per annum. They have to give you that 11 or 12%. And the risk is taken upon by the fund manager. By the fund management company. Yeah. But then now when it comes to segregated fund, you also as the individual will take upon some risk. So with segregated fund, you'll see they'll tell you choose your portfolio. Do you want part of it as an aggressive fund? Do you want a balance? What percentage? Yeah, what percentage do you want towards aggressive? What percentage do you want towards, more balanced fund? Yeah. And then what percentage do you want towards a guaranteed fund? So you have the option to play around. So you see, the thing is that with a segregated fund, it's the chances. Okay, the risk is higher, definitely.
Yeah. So you either gonna lose money or make.
Yeah, especially lately, quite a number of people are like, oh, I've been looking at my statement. I don't understand how
it's
my capital, my capital has not been maintained, but most probably you took a segregated fund.
Yeah.
So that one does not assure you
of
the protection also of the capital.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's just that now we know with the markets, they always balance itself out with time.
Right.
So, but now you have to always know what exactly you want. So if you're someone who's risk averse and today you've put 100,000 and tomorrow when it's 95, you're going to get a heart attack.
Just stay with guaranteed. So, wow, I love that. So, again, I love to summarize because I don't want people to think that we're just talking a jargon. So, let me just simplify. Uniambia kama nimeelewa. At this particular point, for one reason or the other, I need to either supplement what my employer is doing or I need to completely take a new one because either my employer doesn't have or I'm employed, yeah? So, guys, we've said you can either take a pension or a provident fund.
Yeah.
And the pension is the one that you're going to receive money monthly, and with the provident, you receive a lump sum. Now, still within that regard, you can either choose a guaranteed fund or a segregated fund. A guaranteed fund is for people like Susan.
Because
let me tell you, babe, Mimi, there are areas I take risks. Like when I'm investing in, say, the stock market, global markets, and I do those things, even bonds, I'm willing to take risk. There are two things you will never make me take risk on. My emergency fund, it will stay in a money market fund. And like my pension fund will definitely be guaranteed. Because I'm like, I can take risks in other areas, right? So if you're like me, take the guaranteed one. If you are risk prone or you love risk, then you can actually consider to take the segregated fund, where you can even decide what kind of a portfolio. So for you guys who are usually like, Susan, me don't invest in pension funds or I'm not retirement planning because the return is so low. You can actually sit with your advisor and they can actually, you can choose the kind of fund and the kind of risk you would want your money to be exposed to, while still remembering that the lower the risk, of course, the lower the return. The higher the risk, the higher the return. So sometimes that also means vice versa, because as you're pursuing more risk, it also means that at some point your fund may not even guarantee your capital for you, right?
Yeah.
Then now after retirement, we are either getting an annuity, which is also for Kina Susan, the safe people, and then or an income drawdown.
Yeah.
I love that.
Exactly. So simple and to the point.
Yeah.
So especially for people who have parents who are about to retire and they're going to receive a provident fund, please convince your parents, especially if they're not very good at investments, to just put their money either in an annuity or an income drawdown.
Oh, wow. There's something you've mentioned. Yeah, because I've had quite a number of people asking me, Coach, my parent is dependent on me. There's nothing I can do about the fact that they are now retired. Like they can't go back in years, right? So thank you for actually mentioning that, because I'm like, if my parents is already like retired, what are some of the options? Can we talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, we can have that conversation. So if you have a parent who's about to retire, it's important to ask them this question. I know it's not a very comfortable conversation for some families because people don't like talking about money.
Yeah.
But ask them, what is their retirement plan? Do they have a pension with work? Because this is the thing. When you help them plan, most probably the risk of them coming to have to ask money from you is a bit lower. So if they have a pension from work, most probably it's been structured in a way that they'll be receiving an income for life. So if they are going to receive a provident fund, they're going to receive it as a lump sum, then it's important now to plan for them accordingly, especially if you know they do not have investment knowledge. And even just for peace of mind's sake, it's just easier to put it now either in the income drawdown or in the annuity. So you are ensured that they are going to receive an income for life, depending on how it is that you structure it. And if your parents say is retired and they don't have, let's say, any liquid money,
Actually, that's where I was headed. What if they were a business person, or for one reason or the other, they don't have any liquid money that we can purchase that annuity with or an income drawdown? What are the options?
So if they don't have liquidity, but they have land, we know our parents, they were buying land left, right, and center. Like anytime they get any money, they bought land. So you can try convince them, because parents, they are so attached to their land. It's very interesting.
That's why I'm laughing, because like I'm just imagining having this conversation with an African parent.
So hard.
You know what, Dania, wewe na brother yako, like they don't want to hear anything about like this is inheritance I'm leaving for you. But then you see, you are not helping me because all my salary is coming to you.
Exactly. So it's one of those things. It's best to have conversation before the time, maybe even 5 years before. Start putting that seed in their minds, because to have that conversation at that time, they're so attached to their land. So okay, let's say now a parent has land and is willing. So you can liquidate the land and put it now towards now the annuity or the income.
Actually, as guaranteed income.
You've already sorted them out.
And like some of the businesses that I hear some of the people are starting, because it's like this person has been employed for the rest of, all their lives. How is it that we work? What is the probability that if this person starts to run this business from scratch, it's going to be successful? Because that's what I'm seeing most people do, either taking the pension or like, as you said, liquidating assets. But then they're like, nitaanza hii biashara na itakuwa inanipea pesa. Why not just purchase this guaranteed, right? Like annuity or income drawdown for your parent, and you're guaranteed whether the business is working or not. They have income.
Because especially for people who are in business, maybe parents who are in business, if you can convince them to sell their business, to liquidate their business, so that they can be able to have funds to be able to put in there. Because at the end of the day,
you need to go have that conversation with security. There's no atunaambia mtu auze hardware.
But then you see, this is how taxation comes hand in hand with retirement. Because now if someone was in business, they have to think, okay, now when I can no longer work, because sometimes you just get tired and you're like,
just want to enjoy your money.
Exactly. So how can I now plan for also the retirement accordingly? So maybe you might not have to sell the whole business. It could be part of it. But everything you have to plan accordingly, so that you don't ever have to now come to your children. Because you see now the biggest problem, especially now what we call the sandwich generation, you find yourself that you're taking care of your kids who depend on you on school fees, or just let's say everything. And then you have parents who also depend on you,
and you're caught in the middle.
You're caught right in the middle. So it's
well done to like this, our generation, people that are right now in like their 20s, 30s and 40s. That's what majority of people are going through. And do you know, you can't abandon either one of them. Your children need you, lakini mzazi pia ndo ikulea.
So inamaanisha pia where your goals hautazifika.
And like, so when you get to retirement, you actually cannot. And that's why. And guys, let me know in the comment section if you agree. This is why we have this vicious cycle of poverty. Because you see, if you are sandwiched up, when do you have time to save up? Where's the money for retirement planning? And that's why some people who listen to me, and that's why I thought it's important for us to have this realistic conversation here today, because they're like, Coach, I get you. Imagine I really want to do this budgeting you keep talking about. I want to do this investing and this retirement planning that you keep talking about. But genuinely where I'm at right now, with like all the responsibilities of my children, and like with everything that I still need to take care of. And you know, it's never luxury with parents. With parents, it's necessity. It's food, it's rent, it's medicine, it's healthcare, right? Things that you cannot do away with. So what happens is that you're struggling in your 30s, in your 40s, and by the time you get breathing space, you are almost T-5.
Exactly. Retirement. and then now you don't have time in your hands.
Yeah.
So it means, have you ever seen people having to go back to work after retirement?
Yeah.
Imagine looking
So
for
many
consultants in jobs after the age of 65.
Yeah.
Not because you want to, because you have to.
Because you have
You
to.
don't have the money.
Yeah.
So it's that vicious cycle, and I believe it ends with us, the cycle of generational poverty.
Amen to that.
Because now, if we don't plan, if our parents don't plan, it will affect us.
Yeah.
We don't plan, it will affect our kids. And now you can imagine now, even for the children,
Yeah.
the people whose parents had planned, they'll be way ahead compared to you, your kids.
Do you know, a friend of mine asked me something, Susan, if I'm pressed on money, which one should I prioritize? My child's education or retirement planning? Because, it's a real conversation. And I remember we went back and forth and we argued. Like, of course, we are friends. I love friends. Listen, guys, if you don't have friends who talk about money, find a new circle of friends. Because honestly, it is so important. And we argued back and forth. And I remember like me telling her that like I would rather my child even goes to like a lower tier school.
Yes.
Because you see, most of us, it's like, yes, of course, it feels like it's an either or, but like I always tell people, find a way to do both.
Exactly.
Even if, like, guys, nilienda Roysambu Primary School, a public school. My parents barely paid anything because it was a public school, thanks to Kibaki.
Yes.
And imagine we are doing just fine.
Imagine, by the way,
we are doing just fine. And I'm not saying that like the quality, I know there are people who want like really good quality education for your children. Like you want them to study abroad. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. But like if we are really being realistic, if you're gonna do all that only for them to spend half of their money taking care of you, then you've actually it beats the purpose of why you did what you did, right?
Exactly.
And like I think I wish more people had these conversations and we were honest that like I can take my child to like, I'm not saying they will go to Roysambu Primary, hell no.
Yeah.
Never. No. But what I'm saying is that I don't have to fit in.
Yeah. You guys get quality education.
The new peer pressure.
There's so much pressure that
the new peer pressure for parents. Exactly. Nowadays is watoto wako wanaenda shule wapi? Are they doing piano classes? Are they doing swimming classes? And I'm just like, you know what? Get your child a decent education.
Yes.
And pass down values.
Yes. Exactly.
Pass down values.
Yes.
Those are the most important things.
And that's what will take your children even
further than like, you can have a degree and if you're a druggie, it's not helping you. So I don't know what you think. Should you plan for education? Or like if you're in between that rock and the hard place, what would you prioritize?
Because now
kwanza you have babies.
Yeah.
Mimi unajua niko hapa nafayuka na sina watoto. Okay, listen to Marian. She has two babies.
So you see, both of them are very, very important.
Yeah.
When it comes to education and retirement planning. It's just that now you have to look at everything holistically. Like, okay, the education funding, the education is coming maybe closer compared to retirement because education maybe is the next 15 years and retirement is the next 30 years.
Yeah.
So you have to figure out how it is that you can do the best of both.
Yeah.
But the one thing I'll advise people is please also really make sure that you're taking care of your retirement because in as much as it's not advised, you can take a loan for the kids.
You can actually take a loan for school. Americans take loans like they're all paying student loans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's advised because it's better that you save up for the education. But there's some people who completely abandon retirement for focusing fully on your child's education.
Yeah.
Then upon retirement, you still have to come and bother your kids. Because let's say, for example, yes, you took a small loan, now you have to now return it. In retirement, you can't even get a loan to take care of yourself.
No one will ever give you that kind of loan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially with limited resources, it's important to have a conversation with an advisor. Don't do some of these things yourself, thinking that you understand how this thing goes. By the way, with the amount of money you have, your advisor can see how it is that they can structure it to take care of both goals.
Exactly.
Both the education and retirement, because we understand both of them are extremely important. But then please don't forget your retirement because you're focusing fully on education.
Yeah, and when you're hearing advisors and you're probably wondering where to get one, that is exactly what this babe does on a full-time basis. She's going to have a sit down with you look at your numbers, talk about your goals, and then she can actually be able to structure something that would work for you at your level of income.
Yes.
Depending on your age. And we've already, like, if you want already following, we've even discussed about parents. So even if you have a parent and you're like that person who's sandwiched, okay, and you're trying to figure out what do I do so that like I ease this burden on myself, please talk to LERISQUE Africa, reach out to Marianne. I'm actually going to be linking her contact down below so that she can take you through that. Yeah.
Yes.
Marianne, I have a question for you.
Yes.
I read and hear a lot about tax benefits of being in a pension plan or just having one. Can you talk to us about the tax benefits? Like, if I can pay less tax, amen.
Yes.
Amen to that.
So there's a tax allowance on the first 20,000 that you contribute towards a pension plan. So what that means is, in the case, especially now when, let's say, if someone is employed and this amount of money is going to be contributed towards a pension. So even when it comes to calculation of the eventual taxes, say your salary is 100,000 and you're contributing 20,000. So your taxes are not going to be charged based on the 100,000. It will be 100 minus 20. Then the tax will be whatever. Yes.
Oh dear, did you guys catch that?
Yeah. Very, very important. Any way it is that you can save on taxes, please do, because either way, it's still equally important to put this money towards your retirement. So this one is usually now when you receive your income, that amount of money now goes, and then now you can be, the tax is going to be on. And then when it comes to different, now retirement planning as a whole and the tax benefits for now maybe the different plans. So say, investments you get taxed now. So I put them in 3 baskets. There's tax me now, tax me later, and tax me never.
Oh, tax me now?
Yeah.
Tax me later and tax me never.
Yes.
So which ones are those?
So see now investments. Say like right now you put your money towards a money market or the stock market. If you're going withholding tax. So by the time you're receiving your return, they've already taken
the tax.
They tax it right
immediately.
So even as you're planning your retirement, it's important to put these things into consideration. So it has to be a good basket of both, because retirement planning is not only pension. It's
pension is bare minimum. Yeah, that's like higher
investments as well. Like let's say bonds, it's important. This is something like a bond, a government bond. That's a tax me never. Because you for infrastructure bond,
tax me never.
You see. And something like, let's say, tax me later. Now, if you receive your funds before the age of 65, when you retire, they will cut some money. Like in as much as right now there's a bit of a tax benefit, but it's being pushed till later. So see, you're not being. You see now with like right now, if you're receiving within, let's say, you contributed that 20,000 every single month. So that money will be growing without like being taxed.
But
now when you're
payment.
Now when you're receiving it, now the taxes are going to be implicated on the amount.
Is that on the monthly pension or on the annual or on the lump sum or both?
Even lump sum, you see, when you receive it before the age of 65. So that's why I say like maybe before the age of 65, try to use your investments. So that now when you've reached 65, that's when now you start using the income drawdown.
And those are the ones you're saying they're taxed. After 65, are they taxed?
So now usually after 65, not taxed. They're exempted.
It's coming in.
It's exempted from tax. But if you would, let's say you retired at the age of 55 and you're receiving your money, you will be taxed.
I have a question.
Yes.
About taxes. So right now, my pension is with a company X. Okay? For one reason or the other, I decide, or maybe wametrend kwa news, nimepanic. I want to know, one, is it possible if I have a pension product with company X to withdraw, like right now when I'm 29? Like, and for one reason or the other, I no longer feel like my money is safe. You know, with money markets, we know we can withdraw anytime in banks. But then you see, I signed a form that said I can only withdraw my money at age 55. But for one reason or the other, I'm either unhappy or I no longer feel like my money is safe in that pension fund. I have 2 questions. Question number 1, can I withdraw and move to another fund? And because you've mentioned taxes, will I be taxed if I do that, because it's below the age of 65? So talk to us about liquidation.
Okay. So if you are in a pension plan and you're not happy with it, because we've been receiving a lot of this, especially for people who are mostly segregated funds.
Yeah.
So what I'll advise you is just to transfer it from one pension to another. You're not going to be taxed.
So it's possible.
Yeah, it's
What's
possible.
the procedure? I just let them know. Give me my money.
So what happens? You just have you already identified where you want to transfer it to, so that now you can already open an account there.
Yeah.
So that now when you transfer, there's a way that they do it.
So nikitaka kuwatoka, step number 1, may I open the next company?
Yes.
Then I send in a request.
Yes. So even an advisor can just guide you with that. We can guide you on how to go about it when it comes to the transferring, because now different companies require different forms, so we can guide you on that. But now the transferring is free. The only problem is saying maybe you are employed and then you have now you've left your workplace, you're choosing to withdraw your money. You will be taxed a very good one.
Yeah, because
so rather
just rather transfer. And I think this is one of the reasons, guys, whether you are employed or not, it's very important to have your own personal pension fund. Because now if you leave an employer and they had your money, the money can simply just be transferred from your previous employer to your own individual pension fund. So you guys, we said job hopping is one of the ways to increase.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, people are job hopping. Now we are job hopping.
Generation.
So stop, and then you also don't know by the time you retire if that company is even still going to be in existence.
So imagine now trying to call 7 companies that you've worked from saying, oh, my pension.
Yeah.
So rather that, okay, I've moved this company now, I can put it in my pension. Right? Because I'm in control. Okay, I've gone to another company, I'm leaving. I can still, so the common
denominator is your personal pension fund.
So even if you have one with your employer, just have one yourself.
Yeah.
A minimum contribution of 1,000 is not something you can.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's always important to have your own. And if you have more money, you can continue supplementing pension. Yeah, because upon retirement, it's important just to think about the income that comes in, but also things like medical at that time, because that time it's not cheap.
It's not cheap when you're past 50. I think I just wanted to confirm that because I keep getting this question, won't these people refuse with my money? Because I signed and I said I'll take it out at 55. But then now I'm 30, 35.
You have the power.
You still have it. And I think that's why I love this personal pension funds, because there's something you've been repeating today. It's take control.
Take control.
So don't leave it at the mercies of other people, an employer, the government. It's about taking control.
Yes.
There's also something you've mentioned. I don't know whether you guys picked it up. Funding a personal pension fund, any in Kenya, requires as little as 1,000 Kenyan shillings. So if you're trying to start, honestly, you can start with 1,000. I'll even confess, like me when I started, mine allows me 500. But then, do you know, Marianne?
Yeah.
When I lost my job and then I started my whole entire journey, I had 3,500 only budgeted. So 500 was going to pension.
I can see you take your retirement seriously.
500 was going to pension. Then I had 1,500 going to a money market fund. And then I had 1,000 going to my circle. I was just my simple starting point. So you see so many people usually oh my God, I don't have a lot of money. You see, even with that 3,500, I was able to kind of start on the bare minimum level, So guys, we're just encouraging you. If you're listening to us and this is really, really resonating, remember the whole goal of why I have this channel, why we bring this guest to talk to us about these things is because, one, I want you guys to realize it's very accessible, right? As long as you don't give excuses.
Exactly.
It is accessible. And number 2, it's okay to start small.
Yes.
Baby steps. I think if both of us were to start talking about our journey, I know, and where we started.
True.
And for me, I tell people I am such a baby steps person. I value the 500 more than someone who will be like, oh, hiyo ni pesa kidogo. Because you see, it's because of that discipline of putting that 500 that when the money increased, I was able to take it to 1,000, to 5,000, to 10,000, because you've already trained yourself. Even with little money,
I love that.
I'll contribute the minimum amount.
Because the one thing I also tell people, especially when they're starting out, build that discipline.
Yeah.
you do not have to wait till you have 200,000 to start planning, because if you cannot manage 20,000, rather you're earning,
won't manage.
you will not be able to manage 100,000.
That's true.
So it's important to start with what it is that you have now, so that even you can start learning how it works, so that even when you have more, it's something that you fully understand and you're completely in.
That's true. Yeah.
Don't wait till you have more money. That's an excuse. You can start literally from where it is that you are at.
I love that.
And then with time, you've built your discipline, you understand how this thing works. Even now when God opens doors and you have more money, it's so much easier because you are so used to this. You're not starting at that point.
Yeah. Okay.
The earlier, the better.
The earlier, the better. I love that. Wow, I'm learning so much. Now, I want us to wrap this up. And I want to know, like, if I'm trying to choose a pension fund, because obviously, I honestly think, like, this is one of the longest investments anyone can ever make. So obviously, like, the company gives people anxiety because it's like, what if this company is not in existence by the time? Because, like, I started my pension fund when I was 26, 27, and I'm probably going to take out that money at 55. So most people are worried, like, what if a company doesn't last that long and I invested my money with them? How do we choose good companies, and how are we even protected if the pension fund goes under?
Okay. Yeah. So first of all, make sure that the company is regulated by the Retirement Benefits Authority. That's the first place to start. If someone has their own business and they say they're handling retirement and they're not under the LERISQUE, rather not. If there's a fund that is protected, is the retirement fund. Like I always say, the two most protected funds is life insurance
and retirement.
So to find companies funding is almost possible, because remember, retirement, it's taking care of people at old age. So the government is extremely careful when it comes to now regulating that, and also something like life insurance. So those are the two top most protected like funds. Yes.
Yeah.
And then another thing, when you're choosing a company, it's good to now start with, okay, what exactly are you looking at? So, okay, are you looking at a segregated fund or guaranteed? So I think,
so different
companies
will offer different things.
So you can start there, Be like, okay, so what do you offer? Do you offer guaranteed or do you offer segregated? So you have to know, do you want to take the risk or do you want the fund manager to take the risk? So if you want the fund manager to take the risk because you're risk averse, go for a guaranteed fund. If you're looking into, you're someone who understands investments and you're not going to get a heart attack when the market is not doing so well, and you understand that this is how the market works. Yeah, because we get so many people who think that they're risk takers until they're
the risk happens.
Why a partner just move me?
Yeah.
So that's a good place. And then it's also important to get a company that has a good financial standing.
Oh, that's important.
And all this information is just public in the RBA website. We'll also you'll share it also.
Yeah, I'll link the RBA websites, the Retirement Benefits Authority website, so that you can check on where your money is at and how they are doing in terms of financial stability.
Yes. Yeah. And then also another thing is you look at the return.
Definitely. Because why am I here if it's not to make and grow money?
Exactly. Yeah. It's not growing your money. Then why are you there? And the beauty about it is you can always transfer at no cost.
Yeah, I love
You're transferred at no cost. If something is not making you happy, it's your responsibility
to fix it.
Yeah. So you're not stuck. It's not cast by stone. So if you want to move it because you've seen someone is doing better, you can move it. Yeah. And then another thing, have one which has a client portal.
Can you talk about the customer service of some of these companies?
Customer service are missing it.
Yeah.
So nowadays, especially our age group, millennials, Gen Z, they just want to know, I can just go to my phone or just log in somewhere in my laptop and I can see how my fund is
performing.
Yes. So if a company does not have a portal, surely that's a red flag. It means they're not moving with the time.
I know.
Yeah. So a customer or a client portal or an app is a very, very big advantage. Yeah. And then look at the reputation of the company. Do they listen to their customers? Do you hear now complaints? Always check for reviews. Yeah. Don't just go to the first one. Always do a bit of your research. So now you see now when you come to people like us who've already done the research for you.
Yeah.
Show you maybe the top 3 currently, and then we'll tell you, okay, this is what it is that we recommend based on what it is that you want. If you're looking for a segregated fund and you're sure you want the risk,
Why not?
For you, if you're looking for a guaranteed fund, be like, okay, this one is the one that is performing currently the best in the market. Yeah, so it's always important also to look at the history of performance.
Because where there's smoke, there's fire. Do you know, sometimes I see people put in money in a company that has had 100 scandals this year. They've been trending on Twitter forever. And then you lose money and like you're trying to blame someone.
Yeah, I know it does.
Like I'm not saying that believe every rumor on social media, but sometimes
Do the research.
exactly, if clients are complaining online, if the reviews are not so good, you might want to pay attention.
Exactly.
Even if your mom works there.
I know. Or your cousin.
Or your cousin or your friend, as in, because kusema kweli, do you know that's one of the reasons people put money? It's like, mi najua mtu huko, so if anything ever happens nitajua. No.
Yeah.
They are not the CEO, and sometimes even the CEO cannot help you because this is like they're bigger people and bigger like things at stake. So it's not like because I know someone there, then my money will be safe. I love that.
Yeah, and
reputation is key.
Yeah, and then another thing to look at is also management fee. Those are the teeny tiny things people don't look at, because at the end of the day, what you receive will be, yes, your net interest minus the management fee, because there's some which have quite high management fee. It doesn't make sense. So it might look like the return is high, but at the end of the day, it's not. So if you can find something that at the end of the day, the net is making sense, then why not? So always check for this small.
Yeah, so return, fees, reputation, stability of the company. I love that. Now, a quick question before we wrap up really quickly. Assuming you've said in a very worst case scenario, it's not like expected that a company will go down, but in a rare scenario that like the insurance company goes down or whatever, does RBA guarantee the capital of like investors?
So you see, that's why I say like when it's regulated, there's now that amount of money that is protected.
Yeah.
I told it both in life insurance and in the retirement benefit. There's an amount of money you cannot go.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So there is that, and it's that for sure you know that your money can.
That you're okay. I love that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't even like you have to ask yourself, have you ever heard of a retirement?
I've actually not. I've actually
so
insurance and retirement.
So hard.
Yeah. So guys, your money is most probably safe. Most probably, you know.
Yeah. And
most tests a good 90%.
It's like the chances are so.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for showing up and like for taking us through this.
Yeah.
I want to know, like, if we want some help in terms of like retirement planning, structuring what would work for us. I know LERISQUE Africa has a number of services and you guys do quite a number of things to assist people with retirement planning. Could you kindly take us through that and tell us how to reach you as we wrap up?
Awesome. So number one, if you do not have a pension plan at all, start now. You've heard you can start with as low as 500 or even 1,000 shillings. So if this you believe your retirement is important and you need to take care of yourself, it's very, very important and extremely critical to put this amount of money aside. So we can help you set up an individual pension plan so that you can start. And even if you are employed, it's good to have your own individual pension plan so that when you do choose to move, you can just move it to something that belongs to you, something that is portable. So that you don't have to wait till now you're almost retiring and you're looking for all the places that you've worked before trying to transfer. So it's good that you've just left, there's a place that you're putting it in. And then another thing is, if you have a pension plan and you're not satisfied with it, we can help you transfer it from one fund to another.
Okay.
So as I said, you're not stuck. These things are not cast in stone. So if you're not happy, we can guide you in the process of transferring it from one to another. And then another thing, if you are an employer and you're looking into adding this as a benefit to your employees, we can also help you set that up, a group pension plan.
I love
because sometimes, let me tell you something, Susan. If some employers did not take care of their employees' pension, they'll never even have had pension.
That's true.
So
it's a good benefit.
Yeah, it's a very good benefit, especially now if you're planning to take care of your people. It's such a good place to start, and you can also start with whatever it is that you can, and then as your company is growing, you grow with it. So to find us, you can. We have our website, LERISQUEAfrica.com, and in the case you want any services regarding retirement planning and pension, we have a form that we'll share with Susan to share it with you guys, so that you can fill that in, and then we can also get back to you. And then you can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on Facebook at LERISQUE Africa. And that's why we give a lot of all this information.
Your videos are always coming at us like msichana wa mkatu siku moja na choose violence every day. But I love the work that you've been doing. Man, thank you so much for gracing my channel. It's been an amazing series. We've learned quite a lot.
Protection series.
The protection series was powerful, man. So if in case you've actually not watched the previous ones, I've actually created a playlist for all the 4 videos that we've done with Marianne for protection, for our protection series, just so that I keep telling people it's one thing to get the bag and then it's another thing to secure that bag.
Exactly.
And we are learning how to actually secure this bag and protect the bag. Nilisikia sene protect the gunia. You know, so thank you so much, guys, for watching us. Again, Marianne, thank you. As usual, guys, like this video, share it with your friends, and remember to turn on the notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a new video. So again, thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you on the next one.